Hey guys, it's Dennis here with,
What's up, guys? It's your boy D.
and we're here to review Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, which is an Oculus Quest exclusive game, which is developed by ILM X Lab, who has done a lot of VR stuff you guys probably have played or at least heard of. I mean, they did the Vader Immortal series that was kind of broken up in 3 chapters, and that was debuted when the first Quest came out. And then they also did the Void, a few of the different Void VR experiences, like Star Wars Secrets of the Empire and Avengers Damage Control, which I really like that one. Actually, I like them
Hmm.
both, but Avengers Damage Control I thought was a blast. But now that they've released this other one, kind of not the, it's almost with the Quest 2. I mean, a little bit after it's coming
Yeah.
out, maybe a month after the Quest 2, and I must say it's different than what I expected. It was actually a lot of things that I thought, I really enjoyed Vader Immortal, but some of the criticisms I did have with it was a bit linear, and it was kind of like half a game and half a interactive experience, where this
Hmm.
is much more like a regular game. What do you think about it?
Overall, like I had high expectations, like you said, coming into this because of everything they've done from the Void experiences, as well as the Wreck-It Ralph, the
Mhm.
Break Ralph one. I thought was a blast, but I think out of all the Void ones, the Avenger one is my favorite by far out of the ones we've got to try. But so going into that from this and getting, because this was my first game app I got to test on the Quest 2, I was really eager, really excited to see what it was going to look like, how it was going to feel, because I love Vader Immortal. So I was like, all right, let me see what this is about. And immediately, like within the first 10 minutes, I was like, damn, I love this. I truly didn't. Like you said, it feels completely different from Vader Immortal. I gotta say, like I've never felt more immersed in the world of a VR game, of just a game in general, where I felt that connected to the character. And I've said that for my Miles review with the controller, but now that I've got the Quest 2 in my hands, and I
Mhm.
texted you this, it feels like very similar to the dual sense controller in a lot of ways as far as the haptic feedback and everything like
Mhm.
that. So the controls were amazing, and it just blew me away from start to finish. And it felt like a real, like a Star Wars story. Like it was pretty dope. So all in all, like my expectations were definitely surpassed.
Yeah, the thing is the graphics to me were like truly impressive. It's best graphics. Obviously, I'm playing on the Quest 2, you're playing on the Quest 2, so I don't know how downgraded the graphics are for the Quest 1.
Hmm.
But they definitely made this game with the Quest 2 in mind, because the textures are much higher res than you see in other Quest games. The animation in terms of the characters moving around, there's a bunch of
Hmm.
fun characters like the bartender and the workshop repair guy, all that stuff, and you see them like fully animating, and then there it's no like surprises. You see like C3PO and R2D2 on the cover art, and they appear, and just seeing them in VR and being able to move. I mean, it's even surpassed what you saw in Invader 1, where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, this looks a lot more. Look, it's not like we said with the VR, specifically with the Quest, because it's not PC powered. There's limitations to what they can do, but they really did a lot of, I don't know what kind of
Hell, like it feels
tricks.
like it like I said, it felt like a game changer because I this was first app jumping into on the Quest 2, and I
Mhm.
was like, this is HD as hell. Holy, like,
Yeah.
and at first, and we both said it in the trailer, like when the initial trailer drop, where they were like, there's no way it looks that good on
Yeah.
on an actual virtual headset. But it looks that good. Like I was genuinely surprised with how much like the like the sunsets, everything. I would just
Mhm.
stand around, just turning around, and like you mentioned, there are characters like C3PO where there's a moment where you're just standing next to him. And I'm like looking at him. I'm like, dude, he looks good as hell, like he's in the movie. Like I can't under I thought it was just so cool that I was standing next to him, and in the game, or like relation to height wise, like he's a bit shorter than you. So just like being able to like look over, have I keep butchering his name, C3PO, like right next to me. It was just so badass. And the also I think another thing about it is Star Wars, like time and time again from different stories, they do a good job of like really showing that anybody can be a hero in a way, like no matter where you come from, no matter your lineage, unless you're a Palpatine or whatever. But like just in general, like it doesn't matter. So I thought it was really cool that they made it a droid repairsman is the hero of the story. Like all the stuff that he encounters throughout his time is like, oh, like this is slowly like how the resistance, this is how like people fighting the resistance. And he got to experience that firsthand. And I thought that was a pretty cool way to tell a story.
Yeah, it takes place on the world of Batu. You're a droid repair technician. You're fighting off this Guavian death gang. And, this ties also into, the at Disneyland, Disney World, they have the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So it's kind of, it takes place in that same area. And so there's that connection to it. And it's weird because you feel like you're immersed into that world. But like I said, it's much more of a game than, like we said, we have wonderful experiences at the Void with Star Wars Secrets of the Empire and Avengers Damage Control and whatnot. But those are like, it's a game, but it's an interactive experience. It's a whole thing. And the way that Vader Immortal was kind of like that as well. It's like a lot of story, but they kind of forced you along where you had to walk and whatnot. And not to say this is not an open world, but there is a little more freedom in what you can do and where you can go and how you can achieve certain things. And so it just felt more like you were on a real, world in Star Wars.
Yeah, and going back to the thing about just making him a simple droid repairsman where he doesn't have any powers, he doesn't have anything, he just has like his tools and his tech, made it feel more practical, more grounded. Although we're in reality, like he's a human, I'm a human, like I could see like this actually like what I'm doing and the toolkits and the things that they equip with you. This is another compliment or a shout out. I've never had more fun like opening crates or doing loot boxes than I had with the all media all toolkit that they have, like all multi-purpose toolkit that they do. Like I thought that was such an inventive like device that they like brought into this thing, and I was like, whoa, all right, like I've never got tired of opening crates or having to fire around the thing. I was like, this is fun. Like give me a whole bunch of challenges like this. I don't mind.
Yeah, it's a bunch of like kind of little mini puzzles or games or whatever with that little toolkit. Also, to kind of jump off, what's the difference between this and Vader Immortal too? Is Vader Immortal it's force heavy, it's lightsaber heavy. So you're going in terms of the gameplay. You're wielding a lightsaber, you're using the force and whatnot. Where this is a very smuggler-esque, Han Solo like adventure where you're wielding guns. You have different choices of guns, shotgun, machine gun. I mean, the equivalent in the Star Wars universe, and blasters and whatnot, and thermal detonators. One cool thing too, you have these like training droids. If you've seen Star Wars and the original Star Wars with Luke Skywalker when he's training in the ship with the helmet on, you can throw these up and they can help you along the way. So there's like a wide variety of things that you can do and choices you can make. You have the Bacta spray that you can heal yourself, and you can go to the shop and buy these different items, right? Like the droids and the Bacta spray and a few little cosmetic things, and you can collect little mini droids as well. It just feels more like what you're used to out of a regular game, but in VR.
Condense.
Yeah,
and like piggybacking off of your point with feeling like Han Solo or something. There's one gun you have a little blaster that fits perfectly, like it's an Oculus controller, and I'm just sitting there like Man, I feel like a badass right now. I got this gun in my hand, but yeah, it's so dope. The action in it, especially if you play it. I played it on the hardest difficulty where they throw everything at you, especially with those guards. And we need to make a separate tip video because throwing those little joy bots in the air, using them to help you like that is a must. But also how they incorporated using a jetpack because you are able to go fly up vertically, and that's how you have to traverse a lot to go to different
Hmm.
places or different things on the map. So incorporating that in your combat and just trying to fly around, zoom up, like teleport using the little teleport thing while also still free moving, I thought it made the combat really unique
Hmm.
and pretty cool in the Star Wars universe that I never really got to experience. Like you said, it made it feel like more of like a action type of game, like a Blood and Truth or something that I
Hmm.
would play using a real gun, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of positive things about this. I want to talk about like some of the few negatives or criticisms that I have. I mean, overall, I did have a blast playing this game, and there's a lot of good things about it. I would say they kind of almost veered the other way from Vader Immortal, right? Vader Immortal was like
Mm.
very story driven and like they limited kind of the your what you could actually do, and they kind of opened that up for Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. But I feel like I wish there was a little more story to it. And obviously, we're not going to do spoilers at all, but like there's like definitely missions that you go on and things that you need to do, but there isn't like a super heavy motivation or kind of character relationships or anything like that that kind of pushes you forward. It's kind of just more the action itself. And I would say, you know, they kind of swung the other way where they're like, okay, let's give you a lot more game now. But they kind of did less of the story, if you know what I'm saying.
I kind of agree with you and kind of like I
Mm-hmm.
see where you're coming from. I personally like was able to I thought the story was pretty well done. I do agree. I would have like of course I would have liked it a longer game for us to
Mm-hmm.
fully flesh it out. 13, 14 hour, give me a 15-hour Star Wars game. I would have loved that. But at the same time, like I think they did make the right move completely, like making it not so story driven and going in and making you just have fun and like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, here's your blaster, go kill a bunch of people. Like, and then I'm definitely more excited because we only had a little bit of time. Like, we were able to finish the whole game, the main
Mm-hmm.
story, but we weren't able to fully dive into the side missions, like with Yoda and things like that. So I would love to explore that and really see what that even though it's a short story, it's not tying into this at all. I would love to see what that brings because then they do plan on doing more expansion packs. Like after this, they do plan on making
Yeah.
DLCs and things. So if that does mean like it, hopefully I would love to see them do a continuation of our main character story, like a little like, all right, let's see where he's at now. Like, oh, maybe the main antagonist has some friends who heard about what he did or something. I don't know. Put him on his own journey again. But I'd love to see the other DLC packs. Maybe we will get a more story driven DLC
Mm-hmm.
versus what we got in this one. But all in all, I thought like the action by itself carried what made the
Mm-hmm.
game for me. Like I've never like had this much fun when it came to like especially specifically Star Wars VR, but
Mm-hmm.
more VR type. Like I've never been this immersed, and I think it was just a combination of the Quest's power plus all
Mm-hmm.
the hard work they put into this because they started working on this like as soon as Vader Immortal was done, they went into work on this, and it feels like they put a lot of work into it just from the visuals alone. And I thought the score itself, I thought they did a good job of like putting in the work to make the score feel authentic to the Star Wars universe, but made it kind of feel more special to your own journey. Like specifically, there are moments when you pick up certain items, and
Mm-hmm.
there's like there's a certain tone that comes with when you pick up those items. I'm like, oh man, that's a beautiful ass like ring. Like it just stays with you for a minute. So
Mm-hmm.
all in all, I thought the score definitely elevated it, and that made it feel more immersive in the audio, like just in my ears. So I thought that was another thing I wanted to highlight real quick before we wrap up.
Yeah, yeah, and the gunfights are fun. I do wish there's kind of more varied enemies. You kind of get one or two different types, but I wish and you mentioned the expansion, DLCs and whatnot, and the Yoda one that we haven't played yet called I think it's called Temple of Darkness, and that one
Yeah,
seems more like it's a Jedi focused Force
yeah.
lightsaber type of thing, and you're probably playing as someone that's not like the droid technician. That's just what I'm
Yeah, she's
assuming.
I forgot her name, but she's a brand new character, and this is the first time like in video game. I know the books or whatever are coming, but this is the first time they've explored the High Republic. So this is the first time a lot of people are going to get to see or experience that for the first time since they've made that announcement a while back. So I'm excited to see
Yeah, so
what
I'm
people.
hoping like all these like other DLCs that are going to come out in the future are going to be like, you know, whole different experiences and whole different stories and whole different characters. And so, because it's in the name, Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. Like, okay, let's dive into. We got some sort of. We've already done the Jedi thing. We got a smuggler thing. Maybe we got to do, I don't know, some
It's time for
other.
Mando baby.
Yeah, so something like that. So I'm looking forward to it. What would you give? What's your kind of overall thoughts and your score for
If my overall thoughts are like, especially if we're coming from Vader Immortal, I think a general like everybody wanted more from Vader Immortal in terms of like
Mhm.
longer, being able to play longer, and we definitely got that, especially when you put it on the hardest difficulty. I gotta say, like I definitely like before coming into this, before when the trailer dropped, was excited, knew what I was getting into, but after this, I gotta say, man, they knocked it out of the park. They made this brought back the same feeling I had when I was playing Jedi Fallen Order in the sense of like, although I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, it
Mhm.
felt like it made it accessible for everybody. And I feel like this does the same thing where it's like whether you're a novice or you're a diehard Star Wars fan, I feel like they made it accessible for everybody. And it's like you can jump into it and you will just have a blast because you get the iconic Lucasfilm logo, you get the music, you get the story, and then you click, all right, let's play. And then you're just thrust into this adventure. And I thought it was an absolute blast. Like I want more of it. I could have
Mhm.
done a 13-hour, 14-hour in VR with this character, but all in all, I'm glad they delivered it and they gave us more action. And now I can't wait to see what they do with this because it seems like it will be like their mainstay for a bit because we mentioned the void experiences. This felt like a void experience in itself. Like although we weren't
Mhm.
moving around and things like that, I would say this is like a at home void experience with a higher level of intensity in terms of action. All we're missing is a haptic feedback suit. So like the void people, everybody like that should be their next thing. Is since we're all going to be home for a while, they'll just start sending out haptic feedback suits with these quests nowadays. But I think overall I want to give it like a 9.5 out of 10 because I
Wow.
want to jump back into it right now. Like after this, do the other side quests, start the game over again. Like I wish there was an extra harder difficulty because I
Mhm.
cannot get enough of just using the jetpack and killing all those little soldiers and drones and the stuff. Like I felt like a Star Wars badass. Like I'm ready
Yeah.
to get back in that world. But yeah, that's my score, man. And I'm so pleasantly surprised with how much I love this. Like it may like your boy's a Star Wars fan now. Like I'm
Yeah.
ready to watch Clone Wars, read the books, like get
Yeah.
all into this now. So it's dope.
Yeah, I feel like so my overall thoughts is yeah, I had a great time with it. It's a great experience. It's definitely much more of a game than Vader Immortal is, and like I'd say most of that is positive. Like I said, a little bit light on the story for me. I wish they do that, and also I feel like the one thing though is there's so much potential in this game where
Hmm.
you're talking about all the other stuff that they can do. I think this is the foundation for it. They can open up a whole bunch of other stuff. I had a lot of fun playing it. Um, Obviously, yeah, you always want more from Star Wars. I do feel like it was made more for VR fans and gamers versus Star Wars fans. Where Vader Immortal, I felt like was for Star
Hmm.
Wars fans because there's a lot of lore in there. It's Darth Vader, and there was a lot of things to watch, like spectacle wise, in that. Where this one, it's more about you doing the action and pushing forward and whatnot. So I feel like as a
And that's why I think I
gamer,
was able, yeah, like I was
yeah.
able to like connect to it on a faster, quicker level because you throw me into there like you like Population One, like these battle royale games.
Hmm.
That's my bread and butter. So you put me into that type of feel, I'm in there. It's money.
Yeah, and the graphics are top notch, especially for the Quest 2 or Quest in general and platform. It's the best graphics I've seen. I was just genuinely surprised. I was like, man, how are they doing this? Like
Oh,
I've seen what, other Quest games and what kind of like shortcuts or things that they have to do because of the limited resources and they were able to pull off a lot in this, and so I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to give it an 8.5
mm,
out of 10. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing some more of the side quests. And there's a lot of things they can actually open up with, like even like purchasing stuff at the store, like they can open that up and collect those mini droids and whatnot. Just doing all that stuff, I think
Like
will
actually
expand
open
the
up a
game.
virtual, like a Galaxy's Edge virtual shop, like taking
Oh
tours
yeah,
and stuff.
for
They go
sure.
build a whole community, like a hub, like a virtual. Especially nowadays, like they're just gonna go invest, and we're all gonna be living in their virtual reality world by the end of 2025.
All right, that's it for our review. Doran, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Dorian Parks and Rec, and you can find me on Instagram at Dorian Parks.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, Instagram Dennis.tzng. And stay tuned for more videos from us. And we'll probably talk more about the Star Wars Tales from Galaxy's Edge. Maybe we'll do a spoiler review at some time. But yeah, until next time, we'll see you guys later.